Okay, again, welcome to everybody on today's webinar. I am delighted to be presenting this, which is my second webinar for Right Line Trading, and a big thank you to Mark and his wonderful staff who have been here again helping me with technical things I'm not too good at, and well, those of you, of course, who have been using Mark's software know how absolutely fantastic their team is. I really have to say that before I start this webinar. Okay, so today we are going to talk about improving your trading mind and developing stellar chart trading skills. For those of you who don't know me, just a little bit about me. I started out many years ago at Commerzbank. On my career, I've always had a love affair with the markets. I think I kind of was born with it, but discovered very soon, early on in my career, that a career in banking definitely was not for me. 20 years ago, I started trading my own account, done what everybody else does, many trials, some different trading strategies, some different time frames, the usual thing, until I really found my feet. And I tend to, for the most part, use a combination of occasionally doing some scalps, but for me personally, I prefer to work more longer term swing trading, purely and simply also because I do a lot of coaching and have done for over 10 years now, which limits the amount of time I have to do short-term trading. Having said this, there is nothing like a good scalp to satisfy the mind's need for immediate results. And I think we all know what that is all about. Okay. We will be discussing the essence of mastery. What is mastery? What makes a true master trader? Why you have trading back to front without your conscious knowledge, I should hasten to add, the connection between your trading and your spiritual mind, what it means to be in flow, creativity and vision versus focus. There is a fundamental difference, and we'll look into why it matters. And of course, how you can create the vital skills. And then we'll finish off with the usual questions and answers. So, true mastery. I think this is a huge subject, and it's often misunderstood. Now, true mastery is always natural and self-aware. It's never forced. As such, it will be creative, and it's also always self-generating. It's intelligent and it knows itself. You will understand a little bit later what I mean by all this. Self-mastery and mastery in general, by definition, have to be loving and compassionate, because you cannot ever enter any form of mastery unless you have these character traits. It knows and sees what the linear mind does not know and see. And this is the big difference between you learning a skill mechanically and then moving on to the next level into there are different levels of mastery, but entering the first rank of the mastery level. And that takes time, and it is perhaps the most frustrating of all the skills you need to learn on your trading path to get there. So once you've attained it, of course, well, you will be comfortable with the unknown, and you will also become aware that mastery actually is omnipresent. And that means it goes way beyond just your trading. It goes into all the other areas of your life. You cannot just have mastery in one box and then you switch off and you get on with your life and carry on as you always have done. That just doesn't work like that. Trading mastery, of course, is an internal process. There is any kind of mechanical skill is more driven by learning how to press a button, how to learn a sequence of things, and it's not so much a mental process, it's more of a physical process. Mastery goes much, much deeper because it's internally driven. Now, as traders, of course, we need to be able to process large amounts of data very, very quickly, particularly if you are an intraday trader and you are scalping. Well, there is absolutely, it's a prerequisite. Without it, it's a conditio sine qua non. You also have to be able to make constantly sound decision on incomplete information. And this ties into the idea of mastery, being comfortable in operating in the unknown realm of the trading existence, which most people, let's be honest about it, they just have not developed that skill. The two things, the ability to process large amounts of data very quickly and making this sound decisions on incomplete information are the two prerequisites that the linear mind doesn't like, because the linear mind only thinks in known terms. It knows what's measurable, and beyond that, it feels very, very uncomfortable. Since we, for the most part, are using our linear mind when we are trading and also in all our other pursuits of our lives, well, I think you can see that we might have problems here. The comfort zone of known outcomes is something traders have developed to a fine art feeding. There is backtesting, there are indicators, too many of them. The right kind of indicators, of course, are very good to have, but they are very, very few and far between, as you know, and hence traders tend to oscillate between too many things. And when I see the charts of some traders, I walk away in horror, because the mind can only process a maximum of 5 things at the same time. If you have trained your mind correctly, you can process more. But if you come to trading, you are new to trading and haven't done any mental trading, even processing 5 things all at once, you will be challenged. Well, of course, ego, judgment, fear of the unknown are fueled by the need to know outcomes, by the need to depend on your indicators and know what is going on before it's happened. The linear mind only thinks in the past. We discussed this in detail in the last webinar, so we are not going to go over this again in detail. Let's just say that none of these traits, ego, judgment, fear, help you to become better traders. In fact, it's a little bit like building a 5-story house on sand. There is no foundation there. You are focusing on the end results instead of focusing on the creation of your results. The creation of your results is always, always internally driven. Whether you are consciously aware of it or not, well, that's an entirely different matter altogether. And as you know, most people are not aware of it. Once you have started on the journey and done a little bit of meditation, as we do in the Meditation Academy, you will gradually become aware how much of your processes are running on autopilot and therefore are internally driven. And that can be, to be honest, that can be quite a bit of a shock when you first wake up to this. So, of course, on the pursuit to attain true trading mastery, we are looking for a clear and a clean mind. That is very difficult to attain because we have been conditioned to drama. We like the excitement of trading. And I can tell you one thing, from my many, many years of training my mind, I still love the excitement of a good scalp. I mean, there is nothing like sitting there, going into a very fast time frame and being completely in harmony, completely tuned in with the charts. And then you are actually not conscious, and the thing flows, and that feeling is so good. It is so exhilarating and satisfying. But of course, you know, it's a state. It's very, very difficult to keep up for eons. And this is again where awareness is so important, that you know the very moment that you are getting out of state, and that could be anything that might cause you getting out of state, because the triggers which make it difficult to maintain these states, I mean, there are there are a gazillion, millions of triggers. Okay, so your linear mind likes the excitement. And I'm not saying to you, let's get rid of the excitement. What I am saying to you here, when you see that excitement, use it with awareness. The overarching goal of true mastery is that you are allowed to really do anything, but do it with awareness. By contrast, most of you are going around doing things without conscious awareness on autopilot. So, as I said, it's hard to keep that high alert state up, and it creates brain incoherence to the untrained mind. Of course, when you have learned to go into the deeper levels of your mind, you can also learn to maintain these states of high alert in a much more, shall we say, relaxed, in a natural way. Of course, you don't want to get that relaxed that you miss trades. So the trick is to be alert and relaxed at the same time. So getting there takes practice, and it takes time. It's not a 1 or 2 week wonder. I mean, I have to say that straight away here. So if you think you can go from, shall we say, acquiring a effortful way of operating to mastery in just one step, well, you are mistaken. It takes time. You got to be prepared to commit to the journey, and if you do, over months, amazing things can happen. That's the beauty of going deep inside and operating from a very different space. Now we are talking about here operating from the space of inner genius. And I know that is frowned upon a bit, because for starters, you can't see it. You probably haven't experienced it because you see all your flaws. You come onto this earth with many character flaws, haven't you? Well, let me tell you, you are quite wrong in believing this. This is old conditioning that has been built over millennia. It's been built over thousands of years. It's deeply rooted in our DNA. Hence, we think this is how we are. We have got problems with hesitation. We have problems with pulling the trigger too fast. We have problems with trade management. We also have big problems with risk management, either trading too big or too small. Both, of course, are signs of fear, and they are also a manifestation of this old thing that you have flaws. You have got problems, and therefore you have to really work hard on overcoming the problems. So the big problem is that trading actually is not really, deep down, it is not a tangible pursuit. But the linear mind thinks it's tangible. Therefore, the linear mind believes if it does back testing, therefore the results will carry on in future, which of course they don't. And any of you who have done extensive amounts of back testing will know that to be true. So in order to get better trading results, you have to work on the intangible side of things, and that is the side you cannot as yet see, because a different modality is required for that. And that's tough. I mean, I know that is tough for the vast majority of you. It used to be very tough for me as well, and I I'd done all the studies, I understood the theory really well, but taking the theory into practice, I mean, that took me also many, many years. Hence, I developed all these different methodologies to help traders to get there much faster. Okay, we talked about at the beginning about the idea that you have got trading back to front, because basically you are working on the end product rather than starting with the beginning of the creative cycle. See, and again, this all ties into what we have been saying, and it's tough for the linear mind to compute because you are so used to looking for confirmation in what you know. So if you have placed a trade and that trade has resulted in a 15 tick profit, okay, now you know that works. Well, the illusion is that actually you do not really know. It's your linear mind has just gotten a idea that this is something tangible it can rely on, and it will try and reproduce exactly the same outcome. Now, the thing is this, of course, things repeat, but they never ever repeat in exactly the same way. So again, in order to be fluent, you have to go a little bit further into the creative cycle, to the beginning of that cycle. So whilst you are trying to exactly, and notice the word trying here, you are trying to repeat the same outcome again, you are efforting. True mastery is always effortless. And you have to find a way of bridging the gap from going from that place of efforting to true mastery. So, hang on a moment, we're just, okay. So what you have to achieve is finding a new modality, or better still, you have to find more than one modality to operate. If you were to employ a new modality, which would bring the unseen into your conscious awareness, your trading actually would become much, much better overnight. So as we've already said, unfortunately, it takes time to bridge that gap. And that time that is required is learning to practice to operate in a very different way. So you could work faster, you would naturally trade better, and one of the byproducts of this is that you actually would work much, much faster if you learned to employ other modalities in your trading than just using the linear mind. As another byproduct, we've mentioned this before also, is that your decision making would dramatically improve. And it's actually not rocket science to figure out if your decision making improves, your stress levels would reduce, and your general well-being would also increase quite dramatically as well. So the mental sweet spot we are talking about is brain coherence. Brain coherence means that the left side and the right side of the brain are working in optimally together. You are in optimum performance, and the neurons of the brain are firing off in the right sequence. And whatever is required in the sequence will naturally move on to a new sequence without you having to make any effort. That is what makes you feel so good. That is this space of effortless grace where you operate in an elegance where you don't really have to think about anything. You don't have to tough anything out. You are just operating on a very, very, very different level. Now, most traders can't find that sweet spot because they have never, ever experienced it. Now, getting to the experience is the biggest first thing you have to get to. And that is something I'm going to show you in a moment how you can do this. Hard work, any kind of hard work, stops your brain from going into coherence. In fact, just one negative thought will knock your brain out of coherence. It's as simple as that. And that is quite a sobering thought, actually, because you will not be aware of it if you just have one fleeting negative thought. What's going to happen? Your mind literally goes into fight and flight. There is the oxygen supply to the brain will be stopped. Your breathing becomes very shallow. And in that moment, all systems are switched off. You typically only become aware of this, of course, when it's too late and you're feeling really lousy and you have got all these old programs running that are telling you how difficult it is to trade, and that really life is a very tough place. Now, once you've learned to get into brain coherence and maintain that state, the methodology is actually incredibly robust. The benefits, we've said this before, go way beyond your trading ability. They will transfer into all other areas of your life. That's the beauty of this. So, okay, true transformation happens through brain coherence. That is really it in a nutshell. And that's why it is so absolutely important that you develop the ways of operating and being that give you that ability to be in total brain coherence. When you do this, you will literally acquire a new personality. You will acquire a fresh identity, if you like. You will be operating from a very, very, very different place. Brain coherence also gives you access to the spiritual nature of you, which is ultimately the seat of all creation. It's the field, and the field actually is that place in which you are manifesting all your creations, where you are pulling, it's the means through which you are pulling all your manifestations into three-dimensional form. That is really what we are talking about. And again, when you connect to that space, it is that very, very beautiful, calm and soothing place where duality, all kind of duality, is actually suspended. It just ceases to exist. You are operating in a very, very, very different mental space. You are present in the moment. You are alive. You are alert. And in that place, of course, your trading flows through your intuition. It flows through your inner vision. It's an inner place. It's driven from the pineal gland, where you are opening up to things the linear mind can't see. And you will see the charts in a very, very different way, because what actually happens when you operate in that place, you go beyond what you are seeing on the charts. Remember what I said at the beginning? We are talking about the process being purely internally driven. This is what I'm talking about. When you are looking at the chart and say, oh, where is support? Where is resistance? Have to go in this time frame. Then I need to find a way of putting it in another time frame. Well, that's hard work. We want you to get to a place where this becomes so effortless that you can go through the charts, boom, 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 boom. You will see what's there. It's effortless. It's there, shall we say, instantaneously. And believe you me, that can be done. I have done it with many of my coaching clients, where we train to do exactly that. Okay, in order to go there, of course, I've touched on this a little early on, you got to literally create a new personality, because your personality at the moment works too hard. It spends a lot of time efforting, and it knows it has got many, many flaws, all of which, of course, are wrong. The victimhood attitude is very, very powerful. It's in our DNA, and that is the first thing you need to have to work on getting rid of. We all know what it's like. If you have 3 losing trades in a row, your mood drops, and you begin automatically to look for something to blame. There could be something wrong with your system. There could be something wrong with you. Maybe there is something wrong with your internet connection. And so it goes on. These kind of things run on autopilot. You may not even be aware of it, but you will be aware of the fact that you are pretty cheesed off about the fact that you've had 3 losing trades in a row. And then here, of course, is the big thing. Oh God, you got to make it all back, and twice as much, actually, in order to be back to where you started. Okay, so yeah, I know the life of a trader is actually very, very hard, particularly if you live in that old model and live by your old character traits. So you have got to overcome them, which of course is absolutely possible, because you see, here is a thing which most people are not aware of, that your character as you see it is actually not your true nature. Your true nature is actually a sea of potential that has been glossed over by conditioning, by your conditioning. It's been glossed over by all this excitement of so much media stuff being out there. Every day there is some new adventure that is put in front of you, that could be on YouTube, that could be on Netflix, and on your mobile phone, wherever. You know what I am talking about. Now, the thing is to free yourself from all these things you've gotten so used to and so wedded to. It takes a lot of willpower. And here is a thing. True mastery, which of course is a form of enlightenment, doesn't require so much hard work. It requires willpower. It's not a thing about time so much, but it's a thing of willpower. And because there are so many programs running on autopilot, which are not in your conscious mind, it takes time. It takes time to find the programs, and it takes time to get rid of these programs. So, really, in order to get there, you must be willing to adopt a different character. That's basically it in a nutshell. And you have to, in order to do this, find ways to pull yourself out of these programs you have become so intimate with that you think they are you. You mistakenly think they are you, I should be saying. So we've said right at the beginning that true mastery is never unconscious. It's natural, and it's very, very self-aware. Self-awareness improves responsiveness. Why? Because when you are aware of something, you are able to stop a program before it takes a hold of you. And you've got about 3 seconds to do that, so which is not a long time. Now, self-mastery is always more alive because it's more self-aware, and therefore it has more choices. It can tap into the unseen because it operates through the subtle language of spirit, and it also resides in a place where spirit is actually, how can I put it? It's a very sweet thing. There is a very subtle, gentle joy for which you begin to operate, that generates life force of its own. And as a byproduct, you become more intelligent on all levels, because, as you know, intelligence comes in many different guises. By the way, when we are talking about this subtle joy, it's not to be confused with when you've had 3 fantastic trades and the world is your oyster. That's something entirely different. Here you are back in the 3-dimensional world, in the material world. So, okay, in order to access spirit, your actions will automatically, when you access spirit, become more inward directed. You cannot be in spirit and be totally out there. The two are mutually exclusive. So you have to make the choice that you are going to go deeper into your inner being and learn to see the entire trading process through your inner being. When you do this successfully, you will become much less dependent on outside circumstances, and obviously a byproduct of that is you become more self-reliant. This in turn frees up an entirely different energy, and here we are in that area where your character is beginning to change, because you are operating from something that is very, very powerful, that is deep inside you, and that goes beyond your conditioning. In that place, in fact, there is no conditioning. So here we are turning on the inner eye. The inner eye, of course, is the pineal gland and the pituitary gland. When you do this, you are beginning to see through spirit, through that field where the creation emanates, all creation emanates from. Now, the thing that stands in your way are old value conflicts, judgments, and the limiting beliefs you have about yourself. So there is no way around this. You have to clear these, you have to identify these old value conflicts, and you have to clear them. And that is when your entire trading life has the ability to transform, because you are then operating at a different energy level. And you are upgrading your energy frequency, and your entire body matrix, mind and body matrix, receives an update. That update takes place at DNA level, and anything that happens at DNA level tends to be permanent. Now, I have given you an idea of what you have to become in order to read the charts from a very, very different perspective, in order to read the charts from deep within. So, as I said, it's a purely internally driven process, which then translates to the outside. So, of course, getting into that place, that is where the problem is. And many traders do have problems with this. And in fact, I would say everybody I have been coaching with has got problems with this. And that is even traders who've been trading for 30 years, believe you me. It's because our conditioning is so deeply rooted. And to make this departure and move into something very, very different, so that you can experience a completely new level of mastery, that takes a little bit of help, sort of, so that you can begin to experience this. So now I work with small groups apart from one-on-one coaching, and in these small groups we take the group energy to train you to make this transition from outward directed thinking to seeing through divine mind, because divine mind has no judgment and divine mind has no conditioning. Therefore, I might also say that divine mind is the ultimate mastery, because it is all seeing and it is all knowing. This all seeing and all knowing is not in a linear sense. It is a feeling thing, it's intuitive, and it's visionary. I cannot stress that enough. So a master chart reader will be able to see the whole picture. They will not just see the charts through the lens of an indicator or through the lens of an Elliott wave count. Elliott wave is great, but Elliott wave doesn't always work and can be too strict. You need to be able to go through all these teachings. You move beyond them into that realm, what I call divine mind, where you can perceive the entire picture. So that, of course, is operating through the whole brain, where you are completely wired and all the neurons in your brain are firing in the right orders, effortless and naturally. So this skill, of course, enables you then to become comfortable with dealing with incomplete information, because you just have more access through the energetic content that is departed on the chart to your own being. You are an energetic being, so it's a communication of energy between energy, what we are talking about here. So it's a very, very different level of looking at things. And when you combine this modality with what you already know, well, I mean, you are going to become very, very powerful, believe you me. Plus also the enjoyment you are getting out of your trading, if you learn to operate like this, is quite beyond something else, because you're almost operating in a waking meditative state, and which, as we said before, it's effortless. So as an aside, this skill, learning this skill, of course, it stands you in good stead in any profession. Okay, how do we get there? I've already alluded to this. It's we have to clear the value conflicts. No way around it. You cannot be both wanting to make $1 million whilst having unconscious fears, trading fears about losing money, worrying about if a trade is going to work or not, because the two simply cancel each other out. So you need to train the mind without overlays. The overlays, of course, are your conditioning. So as I've said already, well, there is a meditation where we do it in the Transformational Meditation Academy, which is a monthly forum where traders get together to meditate. And meditation, I believe, should be an integral part of everybody's trading plan. You should not be without it, because it is that one thing. It not only trains your mind, it is also a regular reminder to keep you on track, to remind you of the ideal state you need to be in order to operate through and from divine mind. So you will, with practice, be able to use these skills effortlessly when you trade. I can assure you of this. I have shown many traders to do it, and I'm doing it myself. And of course, getting to that place, this is where the spiritual rubber hits the material road. It is the final step that we are able to do this all the time, wherever we go. In other words, we are living it. It becomes your new identity. It becomes the new you, if you like. You will stop wasting your energy, because you'll stop projecting to the past or the future and living in duality. You are now operating directly through source. This is what we are talking about here. You will also be able to spot potential value conflicts, and even value conflicts that have been running for a long time, so much easier. You will spot them before they throw you off course in your trading and you start doing things you shouldn't be doing. I think that is perhaps, from a trading perspective, the best skill you can learn. Okay, energy resources that are freed up with this way of being, of course, convert into new possibilities. Now that you have, let me just say this much: energy is finite. It can only be raised or it can be lowered. It cannot be added to. So when you are out of source, out of sorts, you are pulling energy from the field rather than using your own energy to regenerate yourself. So if you have learned self-responsibility in a way, and that is working through source and working through flow, you are working with your own flow, and at the same time you are becoming aware of the other energies which are all around you. You can access them. It's a feeling thing, and this is where intuition and vision flows through. And in that space your focus becomes crystal clear because it's effortless. And as you learn to stay there longer and longer and longer, you free up more and more energy. And in that space, magical synchronicities are happening. So I'm taking you with this explanation through the different levels, if you like, of enlightenment. I don't really like using that word because, there are lots of incorrect connotations attached to it. Enlightenment means nothing else but allowing more information into your energy matrix, into your mind and into your body. That's all it means, because information basically is light. And in the lower energies, in the denser energies of the three-dimensional, where we are so used to operating in, there is relatively little light. So if we want to create changes faster, want to see more, be more, have more, we have to bring more light into our body. So, okay, that brings me to the end of the presentation, and let me just talk a little bit about the special offer here. We've got a special offer which is limited to 10 people. Why? Because operating like this with 10 people enables me to work with you doing some one-on-one work. It's really the very best thing you could have of one-on-one coaching with me. And plus you have the benefit of the group energy as I take the group through the experiential practices of meditation. We are also doing some one-on-one work here. I will be talking to each of you, see where your major blocks are, and we're going to work through these blocks. So that is actually a very, very powerful experience in and of itself. So briefly on the course contents here, we've got some dates here, which you can see here. Let me just go back, the 8th and the 15th and the 17th of June. So the 8th and 15th are Saturday. The 17th of June is a Monday where we're going to do some live training with live charts so that you can see how this actually operates in practice whilst you've got your charts there. And by the way, it doesn't matter what your trading methodology is. This works for, it works of the Uni-Renko charts, great for, if you can learn this skill, great for mark system, I can assure you of that. It works for longer term trading, helping you with waiting for trades, because there will be less waiting, because you will get much better in identifying the likely timing. There are many more benefits too. We can't, it could go on forever here. Okay, so on the 8th, it's approximately 4 hours. On the following day as well, already said, we are going to do some meditation. I will teach you how to meditate properly, because there is a way you must learn to meditate in order for it to be effective. Just sitting there and relaxing and thinking of the universe, that's not it, guys. Okay. So I said we're going to clear some unconscious value conflicts. Said you learn to meditate correctly, and of course we'll be doing some group meditations. The second day you'll be given some homework to do in between during that week actually. So then we will discuss on the 15th how you've been getting on. We'll deal with all your questions, and I am sure there'll be many very interesting insights you will have into how you work and how your mind works. Again, where appropriate, we'll be doing some one-on-one work. And then, as I said, on the 17th, we will just go to the live markets. You can do this with your own charts. We'll discuss what feels right for everybody on the second group session. I can show you what I am doing if you are interested. So that will be a fully co-creative process so that you all are going to get as much out of it as is possible, stuff in this forum. So, I'm really, quite excited about doing this with you, because I know you're going to get massive benefit from it. So during that time, there'll be complimentary access to the Transformational Guided Meditation Academy. I think we have one group session during that time. So there is also I think Mark will have put in stuff in the box on the side. There are my other offers. There is the course which we did in the last presentation I did. It's a foundational course where a lot of the universal principles are explained, and it gives you a grounding, an insight in how we are working. This is obviously more advanced. It goes deeper. So it's for those of you who are ready to take the next step and go much deeper and further with this. And of course, there's also the offer for the Meditation Academy, and Mark has put in a 50% discount for everything. I'm sure you can see this. So that is the presentation so far, and now we need to go to the questions. Right, I need to figure out how to do this. There we are. Right. So let me have a look at the questions here. So yes, okay. Right. Let me see. So, well, first of all, yes, it is recorded, and you will be receiving a recording probably tomorrow or whenever. Yes, actually, I did say that, Jim, I do trade, but my trading is mainly sort of more long term, and sometimes what I tend to do, I look at the longer term charts to see where the market is, and if I've got a time window, because I do a lot of coaching work with my clients. So if I have a time window of an hour or so and nothing else to do, I say, right, and I see the market is, I like it, I might go just for a couple of scalps or something like this. I work on the basis less is more. It's, by the way, something also I teach all my clients. I think it's very important that you don't over trade. I do exactly everything, stuff what I'm teaching here. If you decide to go for the live course, I will go much deeper. I will show you exactly how I trade. Right. So now, how much is the course going to cost? there are, hang on, the course, if we've got several two offers here for the course. There is the first of a course offer. That's the course on its own is $699, and then there is a special offer where you can get the course, the my original course, which is the self-directed online course, and the Transformational Guided Meditations Academy for 4 months as a special offer. That's 3 months for 4 months, and that is $999. I believe you have to put in the code Mercedes. Probably Mark has put that in the box on the side so that you can avail yourself of the offer. But as I said, you can also take advantage of each of these packages individually of their own. And particularly, this might be for you if you are new to my work, and if the concepts are new to you, I certainly encourage you to do the self-directed trading psychology course, Improve Your Trading Mind, because you need that grounding to give you more solid reference points from which to take these principles deeper and further. And it will help you to prepare the linear mind to have a new experience here. That's what it is all about. So let me see, are there any other questions? Yes, here. Just okay, yeah, great. So you're doing the course, fantastic. I look forward to meeting you too. Yes, and yeah, let me say this again, there are 3 courses here, and I know it's a little bit complicated, so I'll just say it again so that we are all on the same page here. I'm sorry, maybe I haven't explained it too well. Okay, so we have got the individual courses. There is the self-directed course, that's, shall we say, the starter, that's the beginner course, recommended for anybody who is new to the concept. If it speaks to you, you want to learn about how universal law works in action, in trading action, you definitely want to do this course. There is a written section in that course, and there are 15 modules where they are audio modules where I take you through the 15 most common things traders have problems with, like hesitation, trading fears, worry, entering trades too early, too late, the usual thing. There is also there are several audios which are designed in such a way that you actually have your charts up and practice, not just in theory, but with the charts there. So that is one standalone thing. Then there is the Meditation Academy, which is an ongoing thing, which I started some 18 months ago. And well, all my coaching clients are on there, where we meditate every 2 weeks. These are always recorded. Well, it wasn't recorded last time because we had very unusual, but we did have a technical glitch there. But usually it's recorded so that you can listen between the new meditation, the meditations in between. And then there is this course I've been talking about, the live course here, which is on the 8th, the 15th, and 17th of June, where we are going to work together on really going much deeper. That this is very, very practical, and as I said, it's the best thing you can do next to coaching with me one-on-one. And then we are doing an offer for all 3 products together. So which is, really, if you're very serious about this and want to go deeper, you want to do this, you'll have time to do the master your trading course beforehand, and so that you are prepared for this next higher level course. I hope I've explained this so that this is clear now, sort of what we are doing. And by the way, the special offer for all three together is $999, which is 50% discount on there. Right. Do we have any more questions? Yes, the pricing again. So the Meditation Academy is $299 for 4 months. The basic course, which is the Improve Your Trading Mind course, which is self-directed, not to be confused with the 3-day live course, that is $399. Then there is the course, the 3-day course, Improve Your Trading Mind and Develop Stellar Chart Reading Skills. On its own is $699. But if you want all three together, the whole package, this is $999. Yes, no, Jim, there is a discount. As I just said, if you have all three together, that obviously is the deepest discount for all of them, $999, and the others all have a 50% discount. So I hope I've made that clear. I know it's a little bit complicated but we felt it was a good thing to offer everything, because I'm very mindful of the fact that to many of you these concepts might be new, and I wanted also to make sure that you all have a way of getting to know more about these things and learn how it all works, because I can assure you, if you do, you will see amazing changes in your trading and in your life. What is the requirement? I'm not quite sure that I understand this, but let me answer how I think. I see what you're saying. Yes, of course. Anything you learn, even once it is assimilated at DNA level, of course, it requires a practice. It's a little bit like you brush your teeth every day and you have a shower every day. You have to eat every day. The practice here, of course, is meditation, but when you will take that meditation further, because it starts out, we learn to meditate, we sit on a cushion, euphemically speaking, of course, symbolically speaking, because you have sitting meditation, you have lying meditation, lying down meditation, you have walking meditation, and, then, of course, there is the waking meditation, which is what we are aiming for, this waking meditation, that you learn to trade in a very alert waking theta state. And of course, in order to get there, you've got to go through the levels. You have to learn to hold your state, first of all, in meditation with your eyes closed, before you can do it with your eyes wide open. Now, you will and when you do this, at some point, of course, it becomes automatic. Think about when you learn to drive a car. I mean, to begin with, you had to think very hard, shifting gear. I mean, it was a major thing, coordination. You have to have the foot there, putting the clutch down. I've done quite a bit of vintage car driving, and you have to do a lot of double declutching. I mean, I remember, God, the first time it was quite difficult. After a while, it becomes automatic. You don't think about it anymore. And that is what is going to happen here. And it's a gradual process. If you keep with the meditation, the type of meditation I teach, I want to say that again, it's not any old form of meditation. It's a very specific form of meditation. And gradually, over time, your mind develops new neural pathways. Typically, it takes, between 8 months to 16 months for them to really anchor down. You will see changes earlier, you will notice changes, but for you to see real physical changes that come down to the three-dimensional form, that takes longer. And that is the practice that is required. Also, by the way, the beauty is if you keep doing it, you will know it feels so good. There is no effort involved anymore, and the meditation becomes normal. I mean, I meditate every day. I can count the number of times I've missed a meditation in the last 12 months on one hand. It has happened, of course, but for me it is a practice and I enjoy it. It's I look forward to it. So I hope I answered your question on this here. Yeah, the self-directed course is $399. Yes, actually, I will be recording the course, so you will be getting the recordings for that. The meditations absolutely will be recorded. Right, okay, what else have we got? Yeah, great, you are meditating every day. Fantastic, fantastic. As I said, what we are doing here, it's a very special form of meditation, and I've developed that over a number of years. And it started out, I was working with a group of NYMEX, ex-NYMEX floor traders, and they'd all moved over to electronic trading. They were operating a prop shop, and they had great difficulty with making the transition. So they understood the concept. They had read my book, the Buddhist Trader. That's how they came to me in the first place. And so I worked with them as a group, and everybody said, yeah, well, we understand it all, but we are still over trading, and they were doing the usual things. And so I came up with the idea of recording, and I should say none of these guys had actually ever meditated. So I came up with a very simple form of meditation for these guys, and most of them did the meditation, and then I developed the meditation further. Within 4 weeks, all of the guys who had practiced the meditation, there was one guy who didn't, that's why I say all the guys who did, they noticed a total change in the way they were looking at their trading. Did it change their behavior right away? No, but over time it changed. They became less impulsive, they became much more self-aware, and above all, they became much more settled within themselves. And of course, that the ability to feel settled and at ease with yourself and within yourself, of course, it's a prerequisite that allows you to be okay with what goes on in the market, that allows you to stop judging yourself and the market. And I guarantee you, if you judge the markets, you will judge yourself, because the two go hand in glove with each other. Okay, so right, what else? So, well, okay, what type of meditation do I do? Let me try and explain this. The meditation is, well, first of all, it's always an energy balancing. That's how it starts out with. We do this by raising the energy through a very specific breathing exercise that opens the pineal gland and the pituitary gland. And it's a very conscious exercise. From there, we open the chakra centers with practice. You learn to do that very, very quickly. It goes in a jiff. I say with practice. I'm not saying that you'll be able to do that straight away. Then we go into different states, what is required at the moment. Say, for example, if I start out to meditate and I've had a bad trading day, and it happens, make no mistake, I'm as normal as everybody else. I can lose money in trading. Don't ever move my stops, though, I have to say. That just doesn't happen. So then I think, right, okay, I do not want my mind to remember that outcome of the trade. I want to be in total no mind, no body, no thing, and want to disconnect. So I have the intention to get myself into this place where I go from convergent focus, focusing on certain parts in my body, to a divergent focus where I'm out in the auric field and beyond, and I am connecting to source. And there is a practice. It's a very obviously very passive thing, and I know when that happens. So, and when I am in that connection, and it's always a rising of frequency, and when I am in that higher mind, what I've described earlier on, that place of divine mind, then I go to what I want to change. So, which is an intention where I am saying, okay, so I know I had a losing trade. At that point, I will have the information why I had the losing trade. There's always, something I will have done where I was not as aware as I should have been, because you can feel before, if a trade is going to work or not. And, we because the reason is the mind, as you learn to control your mind, and control, become aware of the deeper levels of the subconscious mind, anything that happens is present half a second before it happens. You will know, you can feel it. And of course we override it. Yes, and I do that at times too. It's with all the practice, it's not going to say that you'll never ever make mistakes, but it's what it means is you will deal with it in a very different way. So coming back to the meditation, and of course, I've practiced that I can be in a very, very deep meditative state and set the intention of what I want to achieve. This is what, stuff we will teach you. And I know when that shift happens, and then I remain in that state, because I know the longer I can remain in that state, in that total seamless connection to source, the more likely amazing synchronicities will happen. And at this point, I am completely switched off. There is no intent. There is nothing going on. There is nothing there. Maybe a feeling of gratitude. It's that connection to source where that, how can I put it? There is a very fine, tingly energy, if that's the right way to put it. It's very, very hard to put into words, but you can feel it, you can experience it. Time is suspended. There is no time. And it's the most amazing place. And, of course, and you come out of this and you have done it correctly. And this is what it is all about, learning how to meditate correctly. And, as I said, it's not just about, sort of relaxing, and getting into some other state. This is some kind of state, non-directional state. If you want to create changes through meditation, you have to know how to meditate and what you are going to meditate with, and then at some point you let it go. You let it go. So hope I have explained that, and I think that's it. I think we've come to the end of this webinar. It's been an absolute pleasure, and again, thank you for Mark and his stellar team for facilitating this webinar, and I look forward to getting to know some of you in the course.